Hi everyone, welcome back to Connect Conversations, styled by Hidden Hideout and cut by Infinite Gents Grooming. Today we're going to be delving into the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a good friend, Danny the Danger McCallion. How are we, mate?
Good, mate. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming in. Obviously, I'm sure we're going to get right into everything. Obviously, firstly, congratulations.
Cheers.
Big fight the weekend, big win.
That was brilliant, man. It was 5-0 on that show now, so it's called ADCC Scotland. I've been doing it since white belt. I finally got a good submission on it. Last one I won by points, so I was buzzing to get back to subbing people. It was a good laugh.
No, class. It was obviously amazing to see you came through the victory, and I was like scrolling away and checking on it, and then obviously you put up the story, and I was like, yes, the big man's won. You got in a good mid coming in to obviously chat to me. So talk to me. So we're going to go obviously start right back at the start, as we always do. How were you at school then? What were you like? What was the dynamic at school?
There was two kind of versions of me at school. Like, I was heavy sporty, but I was also well out of shape. So it was like, I loved playing sport, but I just wasn't that good at it. Do you know what I mean? I played football, played rugby. I was in all the school teams and stuff like that, and I was always a part of the teams, but I just wasn't that good. Do you know what I mean? So leaving school, I always had that wee bit about me that wanted to get back into a sport, kind of thing. And everybody at school used to always say to me, from where I grew up and stuff, they were like, you'd be a really good fighter, because I was always quite an aggressive wee guy at school. Like, I would always just fight anybody at school, get into fights with people. Yeah. So it was something that I thought, I'd like to do that. And then I thought about MMA and stuff like that, and I realised I don't really want to get hit in the face too much. Yep. So me and my mate used to watch the UFC, and we'd kind of see people do like arm bars and stuff. We'd just try it and beat idiots in the house. And I was like, I'm going to give that a go. Do you know what I mean? So I seen a wee thing for the gym that was like a beginner's course. Right. And I thought, I'm going to join that, see how it is. And luckily enough, it started during COVID, didn't it? So I'd done like 3-4 weeks. COVID kicks in, I had to stop training, so I ended up just getting right out of shape again, falling away for it. And then, I think it was, what year was it? It would have been 2022. I think just as we came out of the lockdowns and stuff like that, I'd seen it, they'd posted the beginner's course thing again. So I was like, I'm going to message them again, see if I can, I'd already paid for it, so I was like, can I start it up again? And then that's just kind of how I get into doing jiu-jitsu, basically. And
then where did you grow up? So what was your
I grew up in the south side of Glasgow, so born in Castlemilk, moved to Rutherglen about 3-4 roughly. Yep. And totally different to where I live now. As I was saying, I live in Mulgary now, so it's a completely different kind of style of life. But it was just mad. Like, I grew up in schemes, do you know what I mean? So I'm just used to running about seeing scheme fights and people square going at each other and stuff like that. So.
And how do you feel that affected you? Obviously, growing up, myself, growing up in George's Cross, similar a scheme. Seen some mental things. What was it obviously like? Obviously, got to school and then growing up in the kind of.
To be honest, it was. I always say this to my missus, Ellen, because she grew up completely sheltered to all that sort of stuff. She grew up in Lanark. She'll hate if I say posh, but she is a wee bit. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure she won't slag you too much for this.
It definitely shapes you a wee bit growing up that way. Like, you grow up hardened to a lot of things. Like, you see people fighting with each other, and chasing each other with swords down the streets and all that stupid things like that. But you get used to that sort of style, do you know what I mean? Like, so you walk about not really worried about things. Specifically, obviously, once you start training as well and get a skill set behind you, you just kind of don't worry about it when you're walking through town or places like that. But
it's just funny, isn't it, when you see things, especially in town and through. I don't know if it's, as I said, just because we grew up in that environment, but you'll see mad things and something like, and you're just like, it's not that big a deal.
That's one of the things. She'll walk about completely oblivious to things. She doesn't see it, but I'm always like, what's happening out there? I see these two guys about to square go, this is happening, I see this, the police are out there, do you know what I mean? Like, you just see everything when you grow up in a scheme.
The police, mate,
oh, always. Definitely.
Was there a moment, a person that sparked really taking it seriously?
Like,
Brazilian
starting entirely, or just?
I just starting entirely, yeah.
So, to be honest, it's mad because obviously I started watching the UFC purely for the same reason most people do. Conor McGregor, do you know what I mean? Yep. You see how big he got, and he wasn't really a grappler, but it was just, when I started watching that, I'd always watched boxing, and then I seen MMA, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. It doesn't stop when it gets to the ground, and it kind of intrigued me, like, what is that? What's happening here? Because when you start, everybody that watches UFC probably doesn't really know what much of the groundwork is. So I just started to think, I'd like to learn some of that stuff. It looks quite cool. And as I said, me and my mate Jordan, we'd sit and watch we'd sit up for 10 o'clock when it starts to like 5 or 6 in the morning together, just watching the UFC.
You used to go on for ages. It still does, like, it's on for ages.
It's mad, the times, man. It's a pain in the arse, to be fair. But, so we'd just see a move and we go, I wonder how you do that. So we'd just end up next 2 minutes, 2 idiots on the flare going, let me try this armbar.
We just trying in the house?
We'd literally just be, while we're watching it, we go, oh, play that back. Oh, let me try this, see what happens. Do you know what I mean? Probably injured each other multiple times, but I then seen, as I said, the beginner's course one. It was a Facebook ad I think I'd seen. And I was like, oh, I'm going to give that a wee go. Do you know what I mean? See, I'd noticed when I was doing it with him, I was like, I pick things up quite quick.
Yeah.
Like, I'd see a move on the TV and I'd be like, I can kind of work out why that's what's happening here, where you're supposed to go. So I was like, I'll give it a wee go. Went to the beginner's course, loved it straight away, to be honest. Like, it was so difficult, but because I was out of shape at the time, what am I now? I'm like 83 kilos. Then I was probably 95, just completely out of shape.
Aye.
So you start by doing, like, you don't really learn submissions in it, and you just start by learning how to technically stand up, how to forward roll, how to back roll. There's a thing called shrimps, which is like you kind of push yourself away from people. All that sort of stuff was a nightmare for me. I remember doing some of the warm-ups, I nearly waited on the mats. I was stood up and I was like, just for how tired I was. And I remember kind of leaving, and I said to Ellen, I was like, I don't know if I'll go back, just out of the fact that I was so tired. But then she'd basically just been like, don't be a bitch, just go back and try it. So I was like, let's go again. I kept going and slowly started to feel my fitness get a wee bit better. Yeah. And I just kind of fell in love with the sport for there, man.
Yeah. Do you feel like your determination, your real determination when younger, not to give up on things?
Oh, definitely. Like coming from where you come from, you're kind of always, people just always kind of assume you're not going to do anything with your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember many teachers in school being like, oh, you'll fail at this, you'll fail at this. Specifically even with exams and stuff, I remember teachers telling me I was going to fail this class, and then I'd go past the exam and all I wanted to do was go hit them in the face with the paper. Do you know what I mean? I've always had that kind of mentality.
Prove people wrong.
Like, I know if I put my mind to something, I can do literally anything. Like, anything you ask me to do, I might not be great at it right away, but I'll figure it out 100%.
And obviously then developing yourself when you were younger, when was your kind of first step into a bit of competitive action then?
So it would have probably been like school football. Like, we were alright for second year. We were only too great, but third, fourth year, our school team pretty much, I think we won the league and the cups every year, like the 2 years running. And I just loved playing for the team. We always used to have trials and stuff like that to get into the team, and I was just super competitive. I always wanted to be, I was put it right back in centre back because I wasn't fit, so it was like, just stick him back. He likes a tackle, he's aggressive, so we'll put him there. But I just loved competing with all the boys to try and get into it. And then we also used to do like a five-a-side team with your Reggie class. We won that every single year, and I've always been competitive. Literally anything you do, I want to be the best at it.
And then obviously so obviously you done football at school, but then obviously getting into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when you were younger. What was the first kind of competition or kind of competitive action you had? Obviously I imagine there's groundwork and mat work and sparring and stuff in your training sessions, but when was your first step into that competitive action?
So the first ever sort of competition I did was technically an in-house comp. Like, so it was the gym, they hosted a competition between all the white belts that were there, and I think I was telling you earlier, it was about we do like a thing called a quintet in Jiu-Jitsu, so it's 5 for your team versus 5 for a different team, for another team, and kind of it's an elimination sort of thing, so 1v1, you knock each other out and keep going down the line until there's nobody left in each team. That wee in-house comp was basically between all the white belts to see who was getting in the team. So I'd put my name forward for it. I started kind of grappling with some of the boys, getting matches, and then I firmed straight away. I'd won my first match, second match, third match, got all the way to the final, and I lost a decision, but I was raging about it, and I was like, right,
that determination.
I was like, I'm super competitive, I need to be in this team. Luckily for me, unluckily for my mate, he got injured, so he had to pull out, the one that beat me. So I was next call up, and I was in the team, and then I remember going to that competition, I was super nervous, and I was just like, but the good thing about it is there's other boys there, so it's a team event. But I remember having my first match, and I lost, and I was so annoyed about it. The boy caught me, and I'd nearly beat him a couple of times. I had a few leg locks gone, stuff like that. But he managed to catch me in an armbar, and I lost. And I just remember coming after the match being like, I'm going to get him back. I'm 100% going to fight this boy again, get him back, which I ended up doing down the line. We got to blue belt. I got a single match against him, and I managed to beat him. So I've always had that kind of like, I just need to win something. Like, I hate losing, honestly.
It's like, as I say, that determination's just went right through your life then, in terms of like proving people wrong, and not even just proving people wrong, but proving yourself. It's like
100%.
It's like, I've lost, but I'm not going to then just go, oh, I'm not good at this. You're going to then go again and go again until you get what you want to get to.
That's one of the things with Jiu-Jitsu is like, you're always going to lose. Like, I can only think of in the pro sport, there's like 1 or 2 people that have not lost in a long time. Everybody loses at some point. It's about, can you come back for it? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of the most important thing for me.
No, 100%. It's actually really inspiring to hear. Obviously, me speaking to different people, boxers, MMA, footballers, like it's really interesting to hear the mentality behind that. Never give up attitude and never just accept second best. It's always push to try and be the best, regardless of what situation you're in. In terms of, obviously, I introduced you, the Danger, Danny Danger. Talk me through how you got that nickname. Was there a wee tale behind it, or who gave you the nickname?
It was my coach Marcos. So Marcos Nardini, he's who owns the gym at BJJ. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt for, Sao Paulo, I'm sure he's from. He was one of the first black belts in Scotland, and he's probably the best black belt in Scotland. I'd been training with them, so just after that quintet, when I get into the team, we do like a wee pro session on a Tuesday, Thursday, which is basically all the guys that compete. Like, it's mostly higher belts, but when I was a white belt, he invited me into it, because he'd obviously seen something in me that I was quite determined and I was going to be quite as a good competitor. So I went into that, and I'd started doing alright. I was getting smashed most of the time. It's black belts and stuff like that, so I'm getting my arse handed to me, for lack of a better word. But eventually I slowly started doing quite well, and obviously when you're losing, you're always in a bad position. But I started figuring out how to win for bad spots. So like, he'd noticed that you could have me in the worst possible position, think you've won the match, and then somehow for a split second I've won. I've tapped you for a position you just shouldn't be losing. So that's where the nickname Danger came from, because he just basically said you can't go anywhere with him or he'll still beat you. You could have me in a position that's called Mount, which is you completely on top of me, and I'll still find a way to win. So it just came for that. Basically, I had this weird way of figuring ways out to win where people normally don't.
And if obviously nobody's actually seen your page, and if you haven't seen his page, go and check him out. But for the fight at the weekend, for example, and I'd said to you obviously off camera beforehand, it did look like the guy was on top of you, looked like he was trying to figure you out and you just no way out, and then before you knew it, in a split seconds, like, you're a cobra ready to strike, and then like 5 seconds later he's tapping and you've won.
Aye.
As I said, the Danger name is probably then absolutely accurate as you've described it. Sticking with it then?
Oh aye, definitely. It's you see a lot of people in MMA, like I've watched a few videos of people how they got their nickname, and it always seems to be their coach gave it to them. I don't think you're really allowed to pick your own. It feels a wee bit daft if you pick your own. So
no, that's fair.
I had loads of different options. Like, there was one of the boys I trained with, there's a specific move called a buggy choke, which is quite a thing for flexible people, and I kept doing it to everybody. So he was like, you should call yourself the buggy man. And I was like, that's quite a good wee joke, right? But it's like, I can't do it. Somebody has to do it for me. And then Danger came about first. So
actually we'd asked Axel in one of the previous episodes, because I don't think he'd actually had a nickname yet. We asked him what he thinks he was called, so I'm assuming he's going to have a nickname soon as well. Aye. So I know, class. Looking back through that early period then, was there a key breakthrough then, or someone that, reshaped your path or set you on it?
It was probably just, see, that moment I got invited to the pro sessions. I remember I was training just one of the random classes, and I was a white belt at the time, and I was rolling with this blue belt boy, the boy that actually told me I should call myself the buggy man, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I was winning. He used to always beat me, and then I found myself kind of winning this round.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, this is like quite handily doing well in the round, and I was like, oh, like, I'm seeing improvements here. And then Marcos came up and said, I want you to start training with us at 11, and I was like, that's the time we train it, by the way. We just call it 11s, but it was like all the pros that train. And I was like, aye, right, this sounds brilliant. And as soon as I kind of got that recognition for him, I was like, oh, maybe I'm good enough to actually do this. So then I would just start going there. As I say, I was getting battered every week, but then slowly in there you start to find, oh, I'm getting this position on this guy now. Might not beat him, but I got this one thing worked. So it was just wee tiny things like that, but it's mostly probably his recognition of inviting me in with all the guys.
And it never stops coming back though, did it?
No.
Put down the mat. My
first time ever there, it was me with 2 black belts, Marcos, a brown belt actually, Gordon, just got his black belt recently. They two just passed me about the mat for an hour and just smashed me. It was literally, I'd go with him, get battered, go with him, get battered, and just keep going between the two.
There's like a test.
I think it kind of is. Like, he kind of does that with a lot of boys that he thinks are going to be good. Like, it's something he'll do with like the belts as well. Is like, I felt like I should have got my blue belt at a certain point, but he never gave it to me, and he gave it to a bunch of boys who, for lack of, I was beaten in the gym, and I think he just kind of does that to people to see how you react to things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. See
what your kind of mentality is like.
Yeah.
And I just took it well. I went to my next comp, tapped everybody, and was like, right, now you need to give me my belt. So
I love it, honestly, mate. Your attitude's brilliant. Never lose it. Obviously then, moving out of those kind of in-house competitions, moving into your first competition, actually your proper one.
Right.
What was that? Talk us through that.
So that was that would have been, it's a wee competition, I think it's called the Scottish Cup, a BJJ. It happens roughly September every year. I think it's September. I'd went in, I'd booked in, so we can do a thing in Jiu-Jitsu, you can go into your weight class, but there's also a thing called the absolute, where it's all weights fight each other. So I'd booked both, I went into my weight class, I'd won my first 2 matches, come up against a boy who'd had like, I want to say about 50 to 80 fights, whereas I'm on 3. And I managed to get disqualified against them because I did this thing, it's called reaping, which is where you bring your leg over their knee and collapse their knee inside. It's illegal at white belt, you can only do it for purple belt up, I think. I didn't realise at the time, I don't really know the rule set, I'm just coming in to fight somebody. So I got DQ'd there and I was raging with myself, so I just took that into the absolute, and I managed to beat a few guys. I beat a couple of heavyweights when I'm walking about like 75 kilos, they're all over 100 kilos. Got a few of them in an armbar, broke one of the boys' arms, and then walked away with a bronze medal in the all weights sort of weight class. And I was like, okay, if I can beat guys that are bigger than me, I can definitely learn the rule set and start to win my divisions.
Your confidence must have started obviously skyrocketing, and then alongside that, then realising obviously you need to then, you know, take your training up a notch.
Right.
And obviously you're known for your obviously intense kind of training style, and also for you're getting an intense tactical game as well on the mat. You know, talk us through how you structure your weekly training around to be the best version of yourself for the fight.
So for a long time I was just training jiu-jitsu, just entirely thinking, right, the skill set will get me by. Eventually I started to realise at a certain level some guys are also doing strength and conditioning work outside, so I had to start taking that seriously. Luckily my girlfriend, she does her own strength and conditioning programmes, so I just asked her to make me something up. So I start training, I lift weights on a Monday, I train at the pro sessions in the morning on a Tuesday, then I do weights again on a Wednesday, and I'll sometimes either train on a Wednesday night or I'll maybe take it off after that. Thursday morning I'll train pro session again, then I'll probably train a Thursday night, just at an open mat, which is where we just kind of, you can either go get rounds in or you can just do tactical drilling, work on specific positions. A Friday I'll do a quarter high rock session, so just basically for conditioning, just running, ski erg, stuff like that.
Your engine builder?
Oh, it's a nightmare, honestly, man. It
See,
nearly
when I
makes
see
you
it in your
weighty
face,
every
mate,
day.
I look at it and I go, glad it's him and not me.
And then Saturday we have our comp class, so it's our no-gi comp class. So there's 2 kinds of styles of jiu-jitsu. There's the kimono on gi, or no-gi, which is just shorts and t-shirt. That's our no-gi comp class on a Saturday, which is quite an intense session. You do like drilling session first, then sparring for like an hour. I'll do that, and then Sunday, depending on how I'm feeling throughout the week, I'll go to other gyms and train with boys for different gyms throughout Glasgow, or I'll take it off and just come use the sauna for recovery, depends on how the weeks went, really.
Yeah, at the good David Lloyd's.
The perfect wee sauna, isn't it?
Yes,
So.
yes, the perfect wee sauna in Glasgow. Obviously, with your training, you know, the strength training in particular really interests me. Obviously, I see you in the gym lifting mad weights and going really heavy. Is there a set or right way to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially strength training wise, or is everybody individual and everybody different?
So a lot of people do take it differently. Like there's boys that I train with that are more like, they'll lift low weights but high rep. I really like to work on explosiveness, so I'll go high weight, low reps, and just try and do it as quick as I possibly can. I think it's individual. It just depends on what your style is, because there's so many styles of jiu-jitsu. There's people that are big and they're heavy, they're pressure heavy. There's people like me that's like flexibility, speed, stuff like that. So it depends on what your game is. Yeah. You need to kind of tailor it around yourself.
Something I've noticed a lot, even in here, I've seen quite a few people starting to pick up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and starting to do it more often. Are you seeing a rise in the sport in terms of more people taking part?
When I started, man, you'd speak to people in the old spa and stuff like that, and you'd say, oh, I did Jiu-Jitsu, and they'd be like, what's that? And you'd have to say, oh, do you know MMA? See when they go to the ground and they try and choke each other, and you'd have to explain it that way. No, I'll speak to some random old guy in the spa and I'll say, oh, I did Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like, oh, I've heard of that, I've seen that on the telly. It's kind of because like, I don't know if you've seen UFC do their UFC BJJ now, so promotions like that are kind of bringing it up a lot, definitely. Yeah,
and what's your advice then for them to, because something I'm quite keen on is the younger generation. I believe that every person that's young should at least do one combat sport. You know, whether that's 100%. Boxing, whether that's jiu-jitsu, whether it's, you know, karate, whatever it might be, whatever, you know, discipline it is. I always believe it's dead strong for young people to do at least one, and especially where we grew up.
Right.
It is even more important because you need to know how to handle yourself. Now, I don't say that as somebody that was like fighting when I was younger. I didn't exactly go about fighting. I'm a lover, not a fighter, as many people know. What's your advice to people, younger people then, obviously wanting to take up combat sports or jiu-jitsu?
I would honestly, whatever one you want to do, whatever's the easiest for you, you should do it, because it teaches you so many things. First of all, it teaches you to be honest. Like every wee guy you can imagine, like you said, where we grow up thinking you know how to fight. The last thing you want to do when you learn how to fight is actually fight somebody, because you know the consequences that can happen, you know how you could hurt somebody, you know how you could be hurt. So, and then it teaches you life skills as well. Like outside of fighting, you just learn how to be, like, specifically even in the gym, like you just know how to knuckle down and do things. With work, you learn how to just, if something's hard, you figure it out. It's like jiu-jitsu is kind of like a chess puzzle, and you just look at all life that way.
Yep.
And I think all martial arts are probably the same. If you can get through something hard, you train in the morning, do your hard session, every other part of the day is super easy for me. Like if I do a pro session at 11, I'm the most chilled person ever the rest of that day.
Yep.
Nothing can get to me. Like nothing at all.
So in terms of like people that, I feel like people unfairly judge somebody just because they're from a scheme, and obviously then you take that opportunity to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and now making a name for yourself in that in that discipline. How is that for you? Obviously, do you feel like you've been judged? Maybe sometimes people judging you for where you grew up, or?
I mean, it depends. Like most of the time I've spent around people similar to myself anyway, but like I said, I moved to Mulgai recently, and it's a totally different sort of environment.
Mate,
you know
it's
what I mean?
a different country, mate.
It's like, I feel like I stand out like a sore thumb in there, honestly. It's probably to do with the ears and all that as well, but like you'll walk down the street and a wee all want to hear your voice, and they're just like, you're not fair here, you know what I mean? But like, the good thing about jiu-jitsu is it's all walks of life, man. You've got me, guy for a scheme, you've got guys that own businesses, one of my coaches is a police, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of the places that accepts everybody. You're just there to learn and train. And that was one of the best things about it, was like, specifically coming for a scheme, I was kind of going into it thinking, oh, these guys might think I'm a wee Ned or whatever, do you know what I mean? And as soon as I started training with them, they were all the nicest people you've ever met. You've got people from Brazil, you've got people from Spain, people just from all over the world training together, different walks of life entirely.
Probably makes you feel more comfortable going into an environment where you're not judged.
Oh, definitely.
Just because you speak a certain way, you look a certain way, there should never be a sit and judge somebody just because of the way you look or speak. Always judge somebody and how they are, how they talk to you. If they're a wee bam, then they're a wee bam. Then you can go, right, fair enough, they're a wee bam. But see if they're no, don't just judge somebody because of the way they look or think. Because I've always found that when I've been growing up, like you always find that people, just because you speak or say a word a certain way, because I say postal and no postal, people then go, like, why are you judging me just because I'm saying postal? Like, it's not a big deal. So in terms of you though, so obviously doing your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but also alongside that, mentoring, PT and private group and group lessons, how's that been going?
It's been brilliant, to be honest. I started it for a while and it was kind of slow. As everything is, you do like coaching and stuff yourself, you know, it takes a while to build a name for yourself. So you just need to kind of keep competing yourself, winning matches, putting these things up there on your Instagram or whatever. I started kind of teaching like maybe one or two people, and it was good for me because in jiu-jitsu, when you're coaching, you kind of have to work out all the wee details. So even if there's something I'm not so good at, I'm actually getting better at it by coaching people. Do you know what I mean? So I've really enjoyed that part. But recently it's picked up massively. I've had much more clients. I'm teaching pretty much every week now. I'll train on a Tuesday, teach on a Tuesday afternoon. Same on a Thursday, I'll train in the morning, teach in the afternoon before I train again. I'll teach on a Sunday now. So it's been brilliant, man. I've really enjoyed it.
What's the main thing you teach? You call them your students, but what's the main thing you teach people in terms of attitude, in terms of how to be, is a set, a Danny Danger special list of determination, stuff like that? There's
like specific moves, obviously you'll teach people. Again, it depends on body type. Everybody's different. There's certain things I can do, some people can't do. But when it comes to like competitive mindset, I always just try and teach people, like, it doesn't matter, specifically for beginners, it doesn't matter how your results go right now. It's just about keep showing up. Like, everybody loses at white to purple belt. Like, it doesn't matter how many wins you have now. Just keep training, keep competing, and eventually you're going to start building these skills, whether it be on the mats or outside of the gym. Just keep doing it, keep showing up for yourself, and you'll never regret it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you're always keen on your students going and competing, aren't you?
100%. I think there's obviously, no everybody has to compete. Sometimes people just want to train as hobbyists, and it's a brilliant thing to do that way as well. But if you're young and you're fit, get in there and compete. Why not? Like, you might as well go test your skills. Again, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. I always say to my girlfriend specifically, she's always hard on herself when she loses a match. Nobody cares other than yourself. It's only you that cares how you do. Do you know what I mean? And if you can lose, she's lost a few matches recently and she keeps showing up to the gym, she keeps training. I'm like, that mindset's better than me, for example, who's won a lot. It's easy for me to show up and train. I'm doing well, everything in my head's working brilliantly. For the people that it's no gone well for, to keep showing up is even more mentally strong than me.
It's hard. I always say this to my clients, specifically. It's easy to go to the gym, for example, and this is where I can relate it with that. It's easy to train every day in the gym and you're feeling good.
Right.
But see the day that you wake up and you feel like shite, that's the hardest day, but you feel that that's the day you make the most progress.
Oh, 100%.
Because mentality-wise, you've went against what you're feeling. But when everything's clicking, that's when it's easy. You're riding the wave, everything's smooth, but see when the wave's not there, and you need to then flip it, and then you actually then need to really dig deep and get yourself up for it and go for it. I think that's when the mentality shift starts to happen. You start to do that over time. You change that habit that you've got for when things are bad.
Right.
You kind of cower down, but no anymore. You actually stand up. You stand up taller and you go and do it. But don't get me wrong, it's easier said than done.
Oh, 100%.
But if you can start to do it more often, you build a new habit.
It's totally true. Like it's not going to be overnight, but just that one decision today can make 10 different decisions in the future. Do you know what I mean? It's just you need to just keep showing up for yourself.
Aye, and obviously as you've been doing with your fights now, obviously very very recently, winning at the weekend. But before that, obviously you'd won at submission series after
Right.
just obviously I'd messaged you. How did you feel stepping into that environment then? And
The submission
winning?
series one?
Yep.
So it was a bit of a nervy one because the last time I'd been on submission series I'd actually lost, and it was the first time I'd lost in 2 years.
Right, and for anybody obviously that doesn't know what submission series is, if you tell them what that is.
It's a massive show that usually only happens down in England, so it's a brilliant big show. It's got an elevated stage, pyro, walkout songs.
Yep.
Like it's probably between that and the one I just did at the weekend, ADCC Scotland, they're the two biggest shows you can probably do in the UK. You've got tournaments, which is like constant matches on the day,
Yep.
and then these are invitationals, which is one match, you get an actual opponent and you just fight each other.
Yep.
They're the two biggest shows you can do. Submission series is brilliant, honestly, they're really good with you.
Yeah.
Like, but I'd lost on that. The first time I'd lost in 2 years, so I was kind of like, I need to get on this show and get back onto a winning streak. Luckily, the boy I'd lost to in submission series I beat on a different show, so we're 1-1 now, so it's pretty good.
Yep.
He's just won the belt on submission series as well, so I've called him right out, hoping to get a chance for the title straight away, third fight. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, go
But
for it.
that one there, it was a bit of a mad one because they'd changed their show. So normally it's on an elevated stage, you walk out pyro and stuff, but this was their first ever Scotland show. So they'd done it more similar to like a tournament. It was in a wee sports hall and stuff like that, and it was just a totally different environment to what they normally do. But I went out, I managed to get a good win within like 2-3 minutes. I actually think I broke the boy's foot, so I feel quite bad because he's a nice guy, but
That's the world you're in, isn't
it's
it? Like
part of the
these
game,
things
but
happen.
I got him in the same submission twice in the same thing, and his foot popped, and then he didn't tap, and then I went again, and I was like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm going to have to, do you know what I mean? Because
If he's not tapping, what can you
it's
do?
part of the game.
Talk us through that then. So that feeling is something I'm quite keen to know the mindset for yourself, especially if you've got somebody's foot in a lock, you've snapped it, and you can see you've snapped it, but they're not tapping. How do you have the ability or mindset? Because obviously human nature, you don't hurt anymore. How do you do that and change it to then actually, I'm going to snap it more? How do you get in that mindset?
It's mad because obviously in training you don't do that. Like in training, if we're going for something and the person doesn't tap, specifically if you're better than that person, you just let go. You know, right, I had you, we'll go again, we'll try again. Somebody maybe lets their ego get in the way. I don't want to hurt them in training. I want them to be able to keep coming back, help me get better, help them get better. But in a competition, there is just this weird switch. Like,
you don't feel any and this isn't me saying you're a bad guy, by the way, before anybody actually thinks I'm saying you're a bad guy, do you just not have any remorse then, just like in
no,
terms
really.
of
Like, see when
can you really?
see once the referee pulls you off or the taps happened, the first thing you ever do is you walk up and go, "You all right? I hope you're good." Like that boy, I was like, "I've got painkillers in my bag. Do you want any?" Like, do you know what I mean? You all right? Like, but in that moment when the match is still going, the timer's still ticking, you're just like, "I'm going to do anything what it is to take you out here. It doesn't really matter. I'll put you to sleep, break your arm, break your leg, like." Whatever I need to do, I'm going to do, because you would do the same to me. So
I suppose as I was saying, like, you're both in that world. You suddenly stepped in there thinking, well, we might get hurt days. Like, you know that's a very strong possibility that might happen. And obviously there's a reason for tapping out. And like everybody says, I'll never tap. But then if your bones popping through or something, then you're going to be like, I need to tap you.
It's a lot easier to say you're not going to tap if it's some sort of like choke and you're just going to go to sleep, because you wake up, you're like, oh, fuck it, so it's just a wee sleep in it. But
I didn't tap.
If it's your leg, like you've got most guys have got work on a Monday, so you can't really let your leg break, do you know what I mean? But some people do.
And in terms of obviously after that then, and then just living day to day, what's that typical day look like? Juggling obviously your coaching, training, work, on the mat, off the mat?
For me, I'm quite boring, man. So every day's pretty much the same. I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday for my mate who owns a wee dog daycare place in Anniesland. He trains as well, so he's been brilliant with me. He's given me rules that I can still train and make money working. So it's been brilliant that way. I can still coach. So it's like I'll do that. I'll lift after work. I'll train the days I can, and then pretty much up the road and just chill. Like
Just relax.
I don't go out much. I don't date. I'm very boring.
No,
I don't really
mate,
drink.
not at all.
I don't do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Have you never drank, or did you used to drink when you were younger? What was the script? What was the...
From 16 to 23, pretty much every weekend.
Just
Friday to Monday night. Do you know what I mean? Like just out with all your pals as you do. But as soon as I met my girlfriend, and she's not a big drinker, so it kind of, we weren't really good at drinking a lot together or anything, so that kind of slowed me down a wee bit.
Yep.
And then I got into training and I realised going there hungover is an absolute nightmare. See, when you're hungover and somebody's trying to batter you, it's like, I can't do this. Some guys love it, like my mate I train with, he trains better hungover, to be honest.
Does he?
Sometimes.
Like, I don't know how you could, to be fair.
I don't know, he just comes in here after he's had a few bottles of vodka, he comes in and smashes everybody. I'm like, alright, fair enough. But
you're like, I don't know if I want to take that up. I don't think that's the best way forward.
As soon as I started doing that, I was like, I need to just slow this down. Like,
you need to wrap it, especially if you're going to take that sport seriously. You're going to go for it.
You need to get your nutrition serious, your training serious. If you really want to get good at something, you need to focus on it 100%.
Yeah. In terms of the community then, with obviously Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's quite tight knit. How do you foster that team atmosphere?
The thing is, we all train together, and the best thing is, I want whoever I train with to get better, because I want to get better. I don't want to just be winning every round against you, because I'm not getting any better. So there's always that aspect of, if I'm good at something, I'm going to show you what I'm good at, you show me what I'm good at, and it just kind of goes round like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody is there to help each other. You can only be as good as the people you train with, so you have to all get along.
That brings you up?
Oh, 100%. Like, I feel like if you're the best guy in the room, you're not going to be the best guy at competition. You're always going to stagnate at some point.
Yep.
You need to be training with guys that are better than you constantly, and then there could be somebody that's way better than me, but I might have this one wee technical aspect that I'm better at, so I'll teach him that, he'll teach me all his stuff, and it just kind of, just that sort of atmosphere that goes round about the gym.
Aye, and obviously everybody's really in it together, and in terms of yourself, is there any, Danny Danger, the future, so bright, any upcoming tournaments or projects that we should be looking out for, that you're excited about?
So I'm hopefully going to be fighting for a title on the two shows we talked about. Sub-series, I've got that boy Jake, who we're 1-1 against each other, so we're hoping to do the rubber match. He's the under 85 champion at the minute. I'd like to take that off him, get the third fight. And then there's a vacant belt on ADCC for 83 kilos. I fight at 77, but my training partner Arujo, he's the 77 champion, so we can't fight there. So I'm going to need to go up a weight class and try and take that belt.
Yep.
So hopefully I'll be finishing starting this year 2 belts, and then October I've got the European Championships in Rome, which is pretty much the biggest competition you can do in Europe at Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm hoping to go and win that. Outside that, I've not really planned much further ahead, but I'm pretty much confident that I'm going to take those 2 belts and win that championship.
And I love that determination. As I said, we've said throughout this episode, to be fair, your determination is really second to none, but obviously I say that to everybody, keep that up as well, mate, because that'll take you further than you actually probably think it will, because as soon as you start that self-doubt, so I've said it before, positive affirmation is so important, and just keep speaking positively, mate, and obviously pushing it. And in terms of where you could take this beyond that, what could you do beyond that? Because obviously there's so many different paths you could take, but where do you see yourself taking it further than that if you were to?
For me, it's like I was saying, when I do the teaching and stuff like that, that's something I'm really passionate about. I actually enjoy teaching. I want to help people get to be able to win medals the way I've been able to do it, feel confident in their competition the way I do. The easiest way to do that is for me to go and win these big tournaments, gets my name out there a lot more. I can maybe start to teach seminars across the country, go down to different gyms, England, maybe even abroad, teach people my style of jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
In terms of my own competition, I don't really know. There's no really a ceiling for it. Obviously I'm 28 now, so there's only, as an athletic prime, there's only so far I can go.
Yes.
But everybody says this in jiu-jitsu. I wish I'd started when I was 14, do you know what I mean? Like, I wish I'd started years ago.
We're old now, mate. It's like you said 28, I'm pure old, mate.
But I don't think there is a ceiling for it. Like, I'm just going to have to work on my strength and conditioning, work on my skill set, and just see where I can go. There isn't a plan. I'm just going to keep the next tournament, keep going, win this, win that, keep going, and wherever I get to, I get to.
In terms of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu then, where do you see that going in the next kind of 5 years?
So, like I was saying, I feel like it's already pretty getting mainstream, specifically with the big tournaments. I don't know if you know what ADCC is. There's a massive tournament that happens in Vegas every couple of years. That seems to be getting quite big now. There's the Craig Jones Invitational, CGI. He's a black belt that has made his own tournament. That's massive online now. You've got the UFC BJJ. You've got, I don't even know. There's just, I feel like it's going to be as big as UFC at some point. Like, there's going to be an actual pathway for young athletes to start making money in the sport. At the minute, it's pretty limited. You can make a wee bit of money here or there. You can go in the local scene, but there isn't really like a clear path to anything. But I think in the next 5 years, there's going to be an option for the kids that are training to become world champions and make a life for this sport.
Do you think there's enough opportunity in Glasgow for that? Scotland?
Oh, definitely. At the minute, I've trained with a lot of teenagers and young kids, and they're all as good as anybody for anywhere in the world. Like, there's world champion potential here, 100%.
For sure. What final message or advice would you give to someone who's just starting out Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today?
It's simple as just, you need to just stick at it. Like, even to this day at Purple Belt, I have moments where I want to quit. There's times where I think, oh, I'm terrible at this, I'm just going to stop. Like, but you will never regret continuing. Like, in Jiu-Jitsu, most people get their blue belt and leave. I don't really understand it, because once you've got to a certain point, why not try and finish it? You know, there isn't really a finish. Black belt, everybody always says, like, you're still just learning, even there. But like I said earlier, you're always building skills, not even just on the mat, but for life. Like, a determination, how to fix this, how to do this. Like, I think you just need to push past these wee barriers, and you'll see a massive change in your lifestyle and just your mentality.
Brilliant. Listen, thanks for coming in, mate, and taking the time, obviously, to chat through the whole sport. Tell us all about you, past, present and future. Obviously, me and Stu will be keeping a good eye on your future, and good luck in Europe, mate.
Thanks very much, man. Hopefully I can come back and bring the belt with me at some point.
Please do, mate. Please do.